In Nigeria, the Niger Delta region is predominantly known for oil exploration and production, home to vast resources that have fueled the nation's economy for over 6 decades. Despite the immense wealth generated from these resources, the communities that host oil exploration and extraction sites continue to face tremendous hardships. These communities remain impoverished, struggling with inadequate infrastructure and limited access to essential services. For decades, environmental degradation has stripped away livelihoods, leaving behind devastated farmlands and poisoned rivers. Infrastructure remains inadequate, with schools and healthcare facilities barely able to serve the people.
While oil revenue has benefited the Nigerian economy over the last 6 decades, the region has been largely neglected to an extent regarding development. They've suffered various environmental, social, and health issues that has affected the lives and health of people in the Niger Delta region.
In August 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari signed the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, into law. The act introduced a comprehensive legal, governance, regulatory, and fiscal framework for the extractive industry, including the host communities development trusts, also known as HCDT. The PIA mandates oil companies to contribute 3% of their annual operating expenditure to the host communities development trusts, which will be used for sustainable development projects within the host communities, addressing their needs and improving their quality of life. Despite this provision, the story remains the same, as uptake has been quite slow, with many communities yet to establish or operationalize their trusts.
But what I know, the oil have started for over 50 years ago. Like our community people, or our community, we are farmers. We do fishing, we plant of palm trees, cassava, and plantain, and also yams, even maize and pepper. All those things that are counted, because of the oil exploration from this community, the land cannot produce anything any longer. The land, which land am I going to use for the land? The land is, instead of the land to produce, it will now deproduce. All our fishing, our pond has been destroyed. Like when you go to if you go to my backyard now, it's not, let me say a meter away from here, or 1 kilometer away from here, you will see the flow station at my backyard, where they produce, send from here to Warri. And when we tell them, as you are producing here, engage our sons, engage our daughter, they will say they can only give us on skis, not ski jobs.
Where the bonus meet this oil through our forefathers. If you look this our town, we have many streets. Hardly you will see 1 or 2 streets where they tie. All the whole street is on the ground. If you see our main road, hardly you will see that they are tying this main road now. But if you go front from Ovrede now down to Ofagbe, we see there's no way to enter Ofagbe. So that where flood come, we are using boat. It's not more than half kilometer to tie or 1 kilometer road. If they want to put flyover or a bridge, they can do it. But there's nothing like that. Because the time when they never start to drill this oil here, if you see our plantain, if you see our yams, see our tuber of cassavas, they are very rich. But now, because of this oil here, we will not get a good cassava, we will not get a good yam, know a good plantain. That's why we are saying that we are suffering and we have oil.
We benefit a little, compared to what we give out. You understand? Compared to the damage too that the exploration caused the community. Like I told you, we are an agrarian community, we farm, we also fish. But all these things are, like in those days growing up, if we bring our cassava, you would think that it's a tuber of yam because of the size. But these days, they're just pitching, small thing. Why? Because of, the soil. The soil has been damaged over time. And so, if you look at the suffering, where you get a farmer that used to make, much money, these days the yield is becoming too small. And then when you talk about, okay, what's the benefit? The benefit is supposed to be that they will employ our children, give us other social amenities. Like we're here now, there's no light. This is an oil community that has about 8 wells, more than, but let me just be economical with 8 wells. And if you say 8 wells, and they can't give us light, they have not built one road in this community.
And there are a lot of things that have been affecting us as people that lives here, people that comes from here. The oil exploration, sometimes we talk about the gas flaring here. It affects our life. It affects even our aquatic animals we have here in our water. Most times we go to catch fishes, we cannot get enough catch because of maybe the vibration, the offshore vibration. You don't live here. If you live here, you understand what I'm talking about. We that lives here, we feel the impacts directly. Like my house is not far from here. It's just few poles away from this place. But at night, you see the vibration, your windows, your doors will be making noise because of the offshore drilling. So we know how much we have been suffering here in this particular environment because of the impacts that is coming directly to us.
Recognizing the urgent need for fairness and accountability, Budget, in collaboration with local organizations, organized town hall meetings and sensitization workshops to empower local leaders and residents on how to access the funds, demand accountability, and ensure better management of natural resources to promote a well-regulated extractive sector.
Then for the communities we are working with, even though they are host communities, they are carrying out their needs assessment, they've done their development plan, they still do not understand the processes, because that is what is bringing about some challenges they have. You ask them, they'll say, oh, they've not started implementation, there's no fund yet. So, we had to sensitize them that PIA is a process. They have to take it one at a time. It is not like business as usual, like the GMOU, where they'll just put money in the start implementation. There are different bodies that need to be engaged, like the NPRC is involved. If they do not approve your project, if you do not follow the procedures of the project, those are going to be part of the challenges. Now they are complaining of a release of fund. So we've been able to sensitize them and even train the BOTs, management committee and the advisory committee on the processes of the PIA.
Before, prior to the engagement, the people were not informed about the PIA Act. And after the engagement, they were informed. And during the process of sensitization, we found out many things. And one of such was that most of the settlers there, the community were not benefiting anything from, not because the settlers were holding that part, but because the community do not know how to relate with the settlers. Yes, so far it looks promising. Most communities, they are already on the track to actually get it right when it comes to setting up a working HDCT committee, while others, they are still in the process, and others, they've not even known what the HDCT is all about. So we still have a work to do in this region to sensitize the people on the provision that is captured in the PIA Act.
The project has helped us to engage with this community, raise awareness, and help them to understand the potential, and also see how we've witnessed how they have moved essentially from ground zero to a lot of actions using the awareness that has been created under the project. Yes, the settlers were engaging with these communities under the Global Memorandum of Understanding, but Chapter 3 of the Petroleum Industry Act has replaced that arrangement with the Host Community Development Trust, meaning that we had to see trust being registered by the settlers. We had to see the trust structures, the management committee, advisory committee, as well as projects being implemented. Now, as of 2021, August 2021, where this legislation was signed into law, all of those things were not happening. But looking at where we are today, we've seen projects implemented, we've seen trusts incorporated, and a lot of other projects. So that is moving from that ground zero under the Petroleum Industry Act to seeing a lot of the actions that we are witnessing today.
This intervention not only fostered greater transparency, but also strengthened the resolve of host communities to fight for and participate in sustainable development.
Okay, well now, everything seems to be very structured compared to before, where you just wake up and the projects are done as though they were CSR. But now you know that these are laws that the HCDT is actually guided by laws. And so every project that is done needs to be accounted for, needs to be articulated, needs to move from one place to the other, to the final place. So I think going by what the HCDT is doing, or the PIA as it were, I would say there is a reasonable development as compared to during the GMOU period, where it looked as if the settlers were the ones doing the communities a favor. Right now, they all understand that this is a law, that it is a give and take kind of a thing.
The issue of HCDT came up just recently after the president has sent to the PIA. That's where if not formally, we call it GMOU, Global Memorandum of Understanding. But the advent of PIA gave birth to what is called Host Community Development Trust. We are looking forward to do more, because from the training and the workshop so far, the fund of the HCDT is more than the fund of GMOU. That is the beauty of it. And we are believing that we will achieve more in the HCDT compared to the GMOU.
Quite well, when we were using Memorandum of Understanding Implementation Committee, things were not like this. Things were not like this, but ever since we started the implementation of PIA Act in the trust, we have seen a rapid development, and we are hoping to see more.
They are actually working very well for the people of this community, because I can remember very well when the community people here went to the office to make a complaint based on this issue we have here last year. So it did not even take them up to a month. They came to our rescue. And if you look at it, you can see that they fix up this place. This place is motorable. People are going about doing their businesses, and they enjoy what they are doing from the benefits of the Host Community Development Trust. So actually, I can say they are doing a lot for the community, because with their action, with what they have done so far, we believe that they are speaking for us. That's why they can be able to do what they are doing for us.
Nigeria's oil-producing communities stand at a critical juncture. For decades, promises of development have been overshadowed by environmental degradation, economic marginalization, and poor governance. However, the extractive sector must move beyond rhetoric and commit to genuine reforms that prioritize the well-being of host communities.
Previously, when revenue was generated from oil, it first went through the federal government and then through various mechanisms like budgeting, the NCDMB, NDDC, Ministry of Petroleum, two different issues and also federal projects, benefits will trickle down across the country. But because of certain inefficiencies in the system, the resources, the benefits didn't get to the local communities. But the HDT system now allows communities to benefit directly, cutting off that long trip that revenues will go, and ensuring that 3% of oil companies' profits, oil companies' operating expenditure is now directed to the affairs of host community. In a transparent manner, the HDT system ensures that communities are involved in the planning of projects and are involved in the execution, and they can see how the funds are being generated and utilized for their benefits. Budgets with support from Oxfam and with its partners in the region are trying to close that gap as much as we can. We've had trainings for BOT members and advisory committee members in Delta State and in Akwa Ibom, so that we can close that capacity gap to allow BOT members much more efficient. And we're also implementing or kicking off more projects that aim to assess the situation of HDT implementation to ensure that it is better executed in various communities across the region. Right now, we see a situation where communities are much more voracious. They want the information, they want to know what to do. They are tired of sitting back and allowing things just pass by. And the reason they cannot act is because they lack the proper information. But because of some of the work that we are doing, both through direct community engagement, both through our radio programs, through our workshops for media and civil society, this gap is gradually being filled to an extent. The extent of work is still much. The amount of requests we receive in feedback systems severely outweighs what we've done. I would also like to acknowledge that budgets in partnership with other Oxfam partners have also done similar work that has multiplied the effect of budgets across the region. However, there's still a lot of room to be closed. We still have various communities that have not even heard about how this HDT implementation can improve their lives.
The effective implementation of host communities development trusts, HCDTs, is not just a legal obligation, but a moral and economic imperative. Oil companies must uphold their commitment by ensuring funds are transparently managed and directed towards sustainable projects that improve infrastructure. At the same time, government regulators must enforce compliance, close loopholes, and penalize negligence to prevent the cycle of exploitation.